Hey guys, it's Greg Jones from Motorcycle and Powersports News. We are still here at Hale Farm for Fuel Cleveland, and I'm joined by Bubba, and this is his custom Shovelhead Harley-Davidson, and it's your ride of the week. Bubba, thanks so much for giving us a little time here to chat about your custom build. Certainly caught my eye. Got some really cool touches on it. Very low stance, but some high elements. Kind of draws your eye all over the place. So definitely wanted to talk to you and know more about the build and kind of the motivation behind it. But first, tell us a little bit about your shop that you guys got out in PA.
So it's just me and my buddy. It's actually his garage at his house. Long John Chopper Co., John Moorhead.
Okay.
And I basically paint the bikes and he does the fab work, and we kind of like tackle assembling them together. And this is now the third bike that we've done together.
Okay.
So he's got basically all the equipment from a lathe to a mill, and then I paint most of the stuff at wherever I'm working at the time.
Yeah.
I go to the shop, I paint it and put them together.
Yeah, very cool. And what's the name of your paint shop?
The paint shop I work at is called Superior Paint and Collision.
Okay.
But Vintage Groove is what I call my stuff, because
Yeah.
I usually, like, on the side I do this.
Okay.
And paint and collision work, insurance jobs is what I do for a living.
Gotcha,
so,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Bubba, tell us a little bit of the background on the build here. Because like you said, the paint work's more your thing, but this was a build that you were motivated to do, and your buddy helped out. So tell us a little background on it.
So basically, I got this bike. I had a 2002 Harley Dyna,
Okay.
and I traded that. And honestly, most of the stuff on that bike it's not on this one.
Yeah.
The only thing left is literally the front wheel
Okay.
and the transmission. Everything else has changed.
Yeah.
So I got that, and then we were just kind of putting it together slowly, and then we both talked about it, and we entered Biltwell's People's Champ.
Okay.
So after that, it was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And I drew up this picture of like a silhouette, pretty much of this identical bike.
Yeah.
And John, my buddy, he kind of revised it, and we just went to town.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was, he's kind of crazy when he works on bikes. He's got a family, so what he ends up doing is he'll wake up before work at like 3 in the morning most times, work on the bike, and then at 6:30 he'll go to work.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much his regiment.
Yeah.
The whole time through People's Champ and building this bike. So, and then I would come in on weekends when I could get there, and we'd do early mornings and work 5-6 hours in the morning, doing what we could, just bending up the sissy bar or helping him mock this up or that, and that's pretty much how it all came together.
Yeah. Now, Bubba, you just mentioned the sissy bar, and we certainly can't ignore it because it's a pretty major part of the build. And you got the high handlebars as well. You want to just talk again about the idea to keep the low stance but have the high elements involved?
So basically for that, I always liked over-exaggerated, like looking at bikes from the 50s and 60s, they were always like high handlebars, high risers, high sissy bars, and I just wanted that kind of city ripper, but just drag it up and make it to the point where you riding down the road, someone's like, they cannot miss it. You know what I mean? It does not go under the radar.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the motivation behind it. I just wanted blown out proportions, as much as I could.
Yeah. No, goal achieved. I mean, I'm about 6 foot. I think this is maybe
it's over 6 foot.
6'4", 6'5".
Absolutely.
So it looks really awesome. And we were joking before we got on camera that you got a second seat here, but you'd have to be pretty thin to get yourself wedged in there.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. It's good for a small infant, or maybe a travel pack or a case of beer. That's about it.
There you go. There you go. Now you got a Shovelhead in here. Talk about some of the work that maybe had to go into the engine or get that going.
Yeah, the engine, by where we live, we have a local guy that sells used parts, and one day we were just going in there to grab miscellaneous parts from him, and happened to come by this motor. It was sitting there down on the ground, and at first when I walked in, I didn't really take any notice to it, and then when we went to leave, I saw the wings of the eagles, and I actually know the guy that built the motor and welded those eagles on there. So I was like, oh my god, I love this. Like, since he built it, I loved it.
Yeah.
So I traded the motor that was in it for this. So this motor is basically, it's a stock Shovelhead.
Okay.
That was fully gone through, and a local guy named John Humphrey welded those eagles, like aluminum welded those eagles to the rocker boxes, and they're actually, the eagles that you see on like old sheds above the doors, that's basically what he modeled it after, and then just aluminum welded and blended it all in, and it's just one of those things, you go to a show or anywhere, like, it's not something you see often.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Everyone has a Shovelhead, and they're awesome. I love Shovelheads, but like, I've always been into like trying to be as different as possible. That's why everything is so big, and you know, it's blown out. So.
Absolutely. And then you carried the eagle through on the tank there.
Yes. Yep.
That's a pretty neat element. And then obviously, you know, you're the one behind the paint job here. Talk a little bit about the scheme you got going on.
So the paint, like, it basically, I had an idea in my head of what I wanted to do, and all my paint jobs, I never really think too far into them. I honestly, like, I had an idea of what I wanted. I kind of wanted like some peach, and then I bought the paint, I bought the candy, I mixed them together, and this is what came out. It wasn't intentional. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, because I'm still fairly new in custom painting, so like a lot of the candies, I don't know how things are going to change, what it's going to look like at the end of it. So it's kind of like I had an idea, I had a path, but it's wing it, and like I know how to paint, I know how to do all this like different techniques, but just kind of throw it at a canvas and see what happens. Kind of Bob Ross, just happy accidents.
Hey man, it works for me. I think it's a gorgeous color, and it certainly fits the bike. Now, Bubba, we were talking about the Shovelhead and you know, what you're doing there. Talk about some of the other aspects of the bike in terms of some of the parts and brands that you got going on the bike.
Okay. So the front end is actually, it's a W&W Cycles Cannonball I-beam replica Springer. Okay. Based off an early model Harley. Yeah. That was bought from Lowbrow. Okay. The headlight is a F&A headlight, also bought from Lowbrow. Just tank is also Lowbrow. Nice. So a lot of lowbrow parts on it.
They got a lot of cool parts for sure.
Yeah. So, and then the frame is a replica wishbone frame that I got from V-Twin, along with the rear wheel and the brake setup. Okay. So it's a mechanical brake. Yeah. Kind of like old style. Doesn't stop the greatest, but it'll do the job. Yeah. And then a lot of the other stuff, like the foot clutch, the brake pedal, the shifter was all built by my buddy John Moorhead, Long John Chopper Co. Yeah. So a lot of stuff, he built the handlebars, he built the top clamp for the Springer. He did a lot, as much as any parts he could build himself, he would. Yeah. And we tried building parts that we ended up buying eventually, but for as much as he could, he'd try and build as much of it as possible.
Yeah, so. Definitely. And I was also giving you some kudos on the handlebar there. The grip looks like cork, and you said it's kind of part cork, part
it's part rubber. Cork, part whatever the heck they make grips out of. Those, funny story about those, they're originally from Lowbrow. They're Jason Jesse Lowbrow waffle grips. Okay. They stopped selling them, and I went to a swap meet in PA, Boley. It's a pretty big swap meet, and a guy had just like old stock of it, like boxes, and I bought every box that he had just because I was looking for them for so long, couldn't find them on eBay, nothing like the ones that I wanted, like in that color, and this guy happened to have them, so he had like 5 boxes, and I was like, well, I'm gonna buy all of them, because if these wear out, I have backups for a couple years.
There you go. So. Awesome. Well, Bubba, it's a gorgeous custom Shovelhead, and I really dig everything you did here. It's a very cool bike. We appreciate you giving some time to us to talk about it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Guys, we appreciate you all watching this episode of Ride of the Week. Make sure you're checking out motorcycleandpowersportsnews.com for more motorcycle and powersports content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.